Well, welcome back to SAFC Live. We've seen a frantic game of football down at Ewood Park this evening with a couple of big decisions which the officials, maybe in our opinion, weren't to our liking at least, Danny. We'll look back at that and all the action now from the game. How do you describe this evening's game, Danny? Because Sunderland had quite a lot of possession. They threatened on many occasions, but ultimately they come out with nothing. Yeah,
but it was an open game of football is what I'd say. I expected it going to down there this evening. They're obviously in confident mood. Good results at Middlesbrough at the weekend. Play quite open, expansive football, and similar to ourselves really. I think at times when the balls were being turned over, you could see there now they give the ball away. Look at the space they've got, and that was the case throughout the game really. Obviously they've come out on the right side of it, but we'll get onto the big talking points in a minute, which is say cost us the game. You know, people will say, well, we're obviously working for the club. Are we being biased? I think we're calling it as it is. A couple of times we almost got in. See Jack there playing through the middle in that first half. A couple of almost moments, balls dropped in behind for him to try and get on the end of. But here's the first big talking point now as we build into it. Jack chopping back onto his right foot. You see Pritchard in the middle, goes down, he feels it's a penalty. He's probably got a good view at it. The only thing I'm going to say from the referee, he's looking at that and he maybe feels that, is it Hedges, I think, coming back, has towed it away from Jack. That one there, you can see there, he hasn't. Jack's played it with the outside of his right foot, and he's almost swept his right foot from underneath him. Seen there, ref. This is the big camera angle for me. Hasn't got the ball. The ball's a yard or so away from his boot. Jack's played it with the outside of his foot, and he's caught him on the follow through. Play goes down the other end. Was it 10 seconds later? And that's what happens in football, isn't it? It's a lovely finish. You know, you've got to give him massive credit. Can we do a little bit more? Arguably, you see him at the top end of your picture, though. He's just staying away from it, Brereton Diaz. And it's unfortunate. Danny Bark makes the tackle, toes it away, but it just drops for him. Lovely to come onto it first time. And he just sweeps it into that top corner. There's no chance for Anthony Patterson, who hadn't had a save to make up until that point either. So, massive disappointment, big talking point. And we obviously think, and I'm sure, you know, people who watch that back will say it's a penalty. And then a few minutes later, they almost have the second as well. But it's good defending from Luke O'Nien. You can see one or two in the middle, arms up, asking for offside. But I think Luke's a little bit deeper when the ball's played. But he gets himself back into a good position, Luke, and just helps it over the top of the crossbar. And there's your man, Brereton Diaz, just waiting to poach one at the far post as well. This one, yeah, Luke, this was our only real effort in that first half. That's the problem at the minute. We're having a lot of ball high up the pitch, but it's creating chances there. We're getting bodies forward. Good ball in from Luke. Jack just leaning back towards our goal. Has to try and direct it and create the power himself and get it back on top.
It's good direction on it, to be fair, but hard to generate
it does, yeah,
power.
But it's comfortable for the goalkeeper. And then Alex Pritchard with that free kick there. Not what he's looking for, he'll be honest and say he's trying to put the ball in. Gets underneath it a little bit and it's dropping into that far corner underneath the goalkeeper, and he just helps it over the top. And then into the second half now, free kick given away. Ball fizzed in at that near post. Wharton makes the run across Anthony Patterson, and I'm sure, well, we've seen a great angle on that, haven't we? I think he's offside. You can see in the middle, there's 5-6 of our lads holding the line. They've allowed him to go in behind them, and he is offside on those boys. And the only one you question is Patrick and Pritchard are in the wall. And I think he's a yard up on Patrick Roberts, and I think he's a yard offside. You know, if we froze that one there, we'd perhaps see the line of it. And the line's been, you can't see him in the picture, he's down below as he's looking across that, and is he keeping an eye on what's going on in the middle? You can see there Wharton's just got a little touch on it, and you can see there.
Mile off.
Is he, you know, if you draw the line there, obviously we haven't got VAR, but if you're going off Patrick's right boot, his left foot, but the right boot as we look at it, and then Wharton in the middle, I think he's a fraction, is he offside? You know, a shade offside, I think, but you know, it's touch and go. Can we defend it better? Yes, we can. Can we match runners? But you know, the ball's in the back of our net. And then after that, we had a good spell on the ball. We had 10-15 minutes where we camped in their half.
At least 15-20 minutes,
I'd say. They cleared it, but for all the play we had, and you know, Danny Bark there to half chance at best. Header coming out the sky, difficult. You can see the man's leaning up against him there, leaning all over him, and it's a difficult one for Danny to get any power on it, really. And then they had a couple of half chances themselves, as they would on the counter-attack, really, because we're committing bodies forward. We're trying to get back into the game.
It's interesting, though, for all that possession and good play we had, we only had that one chance to show from it.
Yeah, really, yeah. You can see Bennett had that one when he came on. Again, that's a half chance. It's a tight angle, isn't it? He's put a bit of venom behind it, but It's one you'd expect the goalkeeper to save.
This is the better chance.
Yeah, this is the one. Yeah, you know, Jack had 1 or 2 half chances. He, you know, trying to look for that far corner coming in off this left-hand side. Frustrating one for Jack. You know, every time the camera panned on him after something had happened, he's shaking his head. He's having a word with the referee. But he was involved in a lot of our stuff. But I think from their point of view, Brereton Diaz was a threat, wasn't he? And he got them up the pitch when he could. And good tackle from Danny there at the death. Did Blackburn deserve it? No, if I'm honest, I thought a draw would probably have been a fair result. But you don't always get the rubber of the green in football, and we haven't tonight. And Blackburn have put the ball in the back of our net twice, and we've not managed to trouble their goalkeeper enough, and have come away without putting the ball in the net. Having
said that, we're going to have to try and look for the positives from tonight's game, and there was a good couple of performances nonetheless. Pretty hard to pull out one performance in particular. I think we've got a few clips if we can run, and we can see where Sunderland may have found some success this evening to a certain extent. And it's Danny Bart's recent performances which have really tipped the scales in his favour.
I think Danny, I wouldn't say I've given him a man of the match, but he's been solid, you know, in recent weeks and throughout the season. Really, he's been consistent. You know, he's that big, solid leader. You know, I mentioned their skipper Hyam at the back there. That's what Danny's been for us in the middle, whether we played a back 3 or a back 4.
It's funny you actually pulled him out in the pre-game to say he's maybe due a goal. Actually, you know,
yeah, and he came close there, didn't he?
How about this for a challenge
right
as well?
At the death there, you know, he's. Brereton Diaz still got some left in the tank, but Danny matches him all the way and makes a good, you know, good time challenge there right at the death. He shepherds him away from goal and puts a good tackle in there. But no, I just think he's been solid, Danny, in the air, obviously on the deck, and organising us as well at the back. Obviously alongside Luke O'Nien, and obviously Elise as well was his partner in the middle of that back 4 until he went off injured. Hopefully he's okay. By the way, it looked you know, those block tackles, it's like a vibration through your ankle. Hopefully it's not his ligaments and he might be okay for the weekend. We'll have to wait and see. But positive to take. It was, if you go through the team really, there was a lot of almost moments. You know, Patrick trying to get into the game. He was picking the ball up like he did at the weekend, trying to get us going. Jack on the other side. Subs come off, you know, all 5 changes. Couldn't really get us going into the game. So it was a frustrating evening and it wasn't to be.
Let's have a look at the scores from in and around the Championship this evening, if we can. Huddersfield 0, Preston North End 1, Norwich City 0, Luton 1, Swansea 3, Reading 2, Stoke City 0, Rotherham 1, West Bromwich Albion 0, Bristol City 2. Any of those you want to pull out, Danny?
Just looking at four out of 5 games away wins there, and I think Reading were 2-0 up as well at half-time, I think, against Swansea. So good comeback from Swansea. Norwich there, you know, Luton are going well, aren't they? Give them massive credit as well. I think they were 7th at the start of play this evening. And then there's Preston again, solid at the back and churned out another 1-0. So yeah, so it's interesting, but massive disappointment for us tonight and building into a big away game against the league leaders at the weekend.
And because of those results, Danny, Sunderland find themselves 12th, Blackburn at top of the league.
Right, so... And that's it, and you see that, and credit to them. You know, they put their win-loss. That's what they've done. Back-to-back wins for them, sat top of the pile. I thought first half, you can see they've got good structure. They played some good football at times. Second half, you can say maybe they took their foot off a little bit once they got that second goal cushion and soaked up a lot of pressure, really. And we struggled to break them down as such. But yeah, massive credit to them, well organised, and they'll be in and around it this season, I imagine.
Yeah, definitely. Let's have a look at some of your thoughts then on hashtag Ask Danny here in the post-game programme. This one's in from Lowry, who says, when we defend corners, why do we never leave one man on the halfway line? That would take out 2 opposition defenders who would have to defend him. Is that true?
Yeah, you know, a lot of teams, this has been a discussion over recent times, and a lot of managers, you know, they look at things and you work a lot on the training ground and bringing all the players back. I've played against teams when obviously I've been defending, and if I go up for corners, then all of a sudden you look at the opposition. I can't remember who it was a couple of seasons ago.
Here? Yeah.
No, towards the end of my time when I was playing in, I'm going up for a corner 4, and I look back and the opposition had put two players on the halfway line, split either side of the pitch, and you sort of look and you're like, well, what's going on here? You know, because say most teams bring a lot of players back, maybe leave one up, and then obviously you lock on with 2 players, one in front, one behind. But yeah, if you leave a player up, obviously the opposition then think, well, we've got to keep an eye on that at the other end of the pitch. And I do think, sometimes, we're going zonal in recent weeks. We're not the biggest of teams at this moment in time. In general, we have defended set plays quite well. Obviously, we've conceded tonight from that low free kick that came in. But it gives the opposition something to think about. If you leave a man or two up the other end of the pitch for the counter-attack as well. And then sometimes if you don't, the ball gets cleared up the other end of the pitch and it's only going to come back on you. So for me personally, obviously I'm not a manager. I've played in teams where I think I prefer us to leave someone at the other end of the pitch as well. Because if you clear it, they can get hold of the ball. It gives you the opportunity to squeeze up.
Okay, then let's move on to the next one then, please. This one's from Dr. Tom Backhouse, who says, Jack Clark up top. I like him causing havoc, cutting inside and driving in from wide, but will be happy to be proved wrong tonight. Well, we saw both sides of that, didn't we, from Jack Clark tonight. First half, he was playing down the middle. Yep. Second half, got a lot more of the ball on the left-hand side, where he caused damage, but ultimately there was no one to deliver it to in the middle once he moved to the left.
Well, that's the catch-22 sort of situation at the minute, really. I think we haven't got an out-and-out striker to play through the middle. So Tony Mowbray's looking at it and thinking, well, who do we play through the middle? Go back to the Swansea game. Obviously, Ahmad had a stint up there. I think the Blackpool game played through the middle. Then he's obviously looked at Jack's second half against Swansea, done a reasonable job, got hold of the ball for us and got his goal, driving at the Swansea defence and tucked it away nicely with his left foot. So he's gone with him there through the middle tonight. A couple of times he almost got him, didn't he? Patrick tried to thread one through. I think Alex Pritchard dropped one over the top, just skipped away and went through to the goalkeeper. And then he moved him out to the left. And then the problem is you put Jack out there and he does his stuff, jinking about, he went past his man on the outside, come inside. But we had a big void through the middle of the pitch then. I wasn't sure who we were playing through the middle. It was almost a rotation of Embleton going through the middle, then Pritchard would have a stint. Then we made the changes. Ahmad wasn't playing through the middle, he was dropping deep, trying to get on the ball. I think Bennett, he had that one effort, but didn't really get involved, struggled to get him into the game. And that's the problem we've got. Now, we've managed to get through a couple of games where we have, Saturday, prime example, we got a couple of goals. Obviously, one's coming from left back with Dennis Hirkin getting the end of a cross coming into the box. But I think you could see at the weekend, we've seen on the highlights, didn't we, before the game, time and time again, balls were getting fizzed in across the 6-yard line, penalty spot. And that's where you've got your natural strikers in there who's right place, right time type of thing, and where the ball's dropping and where that movement really to be on the end of those crosses. So it's a frustration, and I'm sure Tony Mowbray will be getting back on the bus this evening, having a word with the physios. How far off is Ellis? Can we get him back out there? I think it was obvious in the second half. We're seeing it, didn't we? I said there on the comms where I think Jack picked the ball up, and they had 2-3 centre halves. They're looking around. They didn't have anybody to pick up because we're all dropping off. We've got a lot of players at the minute who are creators, technicians who want to get on the ball to feed into a centre forward. And while we haven't got that centre forward, they're almost looking around at each other as if to say, who's going to be that man for us to feed the ball into. So we need the strikers back as soon as possible. We keep going on about it. We're almost putting sticky plasters over a big problem at this moment in time. We've managed to chalk up a couple of results, but we don't want it to go on for too much longer. We need to get a striker back out there, focal point and something for these boys to play off.
Okay, Sunderland are back in action, and it's a tough game at the weekend at home against Burnley, who were top until we played Blackburn this evening, who have gone top now themselves. It's a 3 p.m. kickoff for that one here on SAFC Live at the weekend, back here at the Stadium of Light where we're broadcasting from this evening. So do join us for that from around about 2:30 on Sunderland's socials pages. That's it for us though for this evening. Sunderland unfortunately going down by 2-0 this evening down at Ewood Park. We'll see you soon.